This is the Wood TV Live Desk.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm News 8 Digital anchor Luke Laster here from our mobile live desk here in downtown Grand Rapids at the Amway Grand Plaza for the CEO Summit 2022. Back in person. It's nice. It's finally back with some camaraderie around it as well. Scott Ryan joining me now from Gentex. Just got off the stage, just had an amazing speech. Scott, appreciate you taking some time here to chat.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit, before we dive into some of the topics you hit on during your speech, tell me a little bit about just kind of being back in person here and kind of having, again, that camaraderie of being back in person.
Yeah, it's great to have these events back in person. I really missed it during COVID and not being able to get back and actually engage with people. Zooms, video conferences were great. They serve their purpose, but there's really no way to replace actually sitting down, sitting across the table from people and engaging in conversations face to face.
So you just got off the stage here. You addressed the crowd there, tackling the talent issue. Tell me about some of the main points that you hit on that you would really want to hammer home and relay to other people who may not have caught it.
Yeah, we've really been trying to be creative. It's a challenging time. Everyone's struggling with it. And it's across the board, both on the hourly side from the manufacturing, but all the way through technology, engineering, salary positions as well. And so there's a lot of work going on. One of the things I just talked about that we've been very excited about, we started about a year and a half or two ago, was what we call our Limited English Proficiency Program. And so what that did was we converted segments of our manufacturing process to support people that did not have English skills. So we're focused on Spanish, and so we restructured those facilities to support individuals that only had Spanish-speaking skills. And so that's been a great program for us to engage parts of the community that historically we had not been able to partner with on an employee base. And it's been very well received, both internally and externally, so it's been great to see.
Why is it important to make an effort to tap into markets such as that, especially when you are quite literally tackling a labor shortage?
Yeah, a couple points. I mean, yes, there is the labor shortage, so we needed to find ways to partner with parts of the labor force that we had not previously been engaged with, but also just as part of the community and DEI efforts. And it's important to be inclusive, and we wanted to engage a segment of the population and really help them become part of the Gentex family.
You mentioned morale, especially during the pandemic. What efforts and why do you think it's important to really try to just keep morale up during those times of adversity?
Well, it's a challenge. I mean, work is already stressful, but then you go back and you go through the pandemic and shutdowns and the amount of stresses it put on people in their lives. And now we have other challenges that we're experiencing coming out of the pandemic on the personal side. So when you have all of those extra stresses and then combine it into the workplace, there's a lot to manage there, and we got to be able to work with people and know that there's all these external stresses beyond just the workplace happening in people's lives.
Aside going back to the summit, itself, aside from being back in person, what is one thing that just excites you in general about having something like this?
Yeah, again, it's just that engagement. I mean, it's really in the shutdown. We talked about when we get back in person. Then we kind of went through that fluctuation. Things were starting to come back. Then we had to go through cancellations, and now it does feel like, okay, we're really coming out of this. Yes, there's a lot of new challenges that we're facing and ahead of us, but the fact that we can get back to these types of events and not having to go through some of the COVID protocols, it really does feel like we're getting back to some of the pre-COVID lifestyle.
One of the questions I've been asking all throughout the morning, everyone that I've had up here, is what would you tell a young professional or maybe just a student fresh out of school, or again, someone maybe hopping from that first job to their second job? What would you tell them?
I would encourage you to go out for that personal engagement. I spent a little bit of time talking about work from home, and that is going to play an important part, of how companies work with their employees moving forward. But if you're a young person coming out of college and you probably did a few of your years in school virtually, I'd say really focus on that personal engagement in the workplace, whether that's your first job or internships. If there is a remote option, okayed, but I would encourage you to really take that time to go into offices and meet the people in the company.
Scott, appreciate your time, man.
All right, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a look at our mobile Wood TV live desk again out at the CEO Summit 2022. I'm News 8 digital anchor Luke Lasser. We'll see you around. Stick with us. Several more interviews here as we go throughout the afternoon. Thanks.